Hello and welcome back to the sofa. Another week, another film, another review for you. So I managed to go and see Dolittle last night. Now I know this is getting some bad press at the moment and some pretty bad reviews, so I want to start off by saying you should at least give this film a chance and not write it off. Now yes, it's not the best film ever, it's certainly not that great of a story, but what it does have is some fairly funny moments, some great and interesting acting by Robbie Downey Jr., and a lot of talking animals, so how can you go wrong with that? Now, it's Robbie Downey Jr.'s first non-Iron Man role since Judge in 2014, so it is a little bit weird to see him doing something else, but what's a pleasant surprise is his Welsh accent. At first, I was a little taken back, but it's actually pretty good and fairly amusing, and it adds kind of a different dynamic to both him and his character, which is kind of nice. Now, as far as his acting goes, it's a little Sherlock Holmes-esque at times, but it works well, and his crazy old looks throughout the film does really make you feel like he's been on one hell of a journey beforehand, and then certainly a hell of a journey carrying on with that. It's very eccentrically dressed throughout, and kind of weird, but I like it. It's good. Now, as far as the story, the basis for the story is a broken and lost Dr. John Dolittle living in solitude in 19th century Britain. His only companionship comes from an array of exotic animals, all quickly explained by a very handy cartoon at the start of the film, might I add. But when a young Queen Victoria becomes ill, the eccentric doctor and his newfound apprentice, who kind of just forces himself on the journey, set off on an epic adventure to a mythical island to find a cure. Now, I'm pretty sure from that alone you can probably guess how the story goes. It's very typical of the type of story it's telling, but it's still a decent enough watch. One thing I did like was its explanation of how he speaks to animals. It's not the case that everybody can actually understand them. It's just for a special few, and they don't actually speak in like human form really, even though obviously they do it throughout the film. You do get these perspective points where you're in the perspective of another character, and it actually makes for very amusing viewing when you're at the perspective of a normal human who can't talk to animals, when you're just watching Robbie Downey Jr. Basically speak dog or any other language that he happens to be speaking in animal form. But it's quite amusing and it's quite interesting, especially when he first does it at the start of the film. You're a bit like, oh my, what's going on? But it's definitely an amusing Sunday afternoon watch for your kids, but it has enough moments of humour that adults will make it through as well. It's a nice story for getting through the more gloomy months of the year, and I think it's a movie that would definitely appear on TV a few times a year once it comes to television release. I think it deserves a solid 2.5 out of 5 stars, so 50-50 almost. It's almost a 3, but if I compare it to other films that are similar to it, it's just as average as them, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with an average film at all. I actually really enjoyed it, so I would definitely go and see it if you're looking for something a little less serious at this time of year. But yeah, 2.5 out of 5 I think is pretty fair. So that's it for this one. Next up will be Birds of Prey, so keep an eye out for that. As ever, check out our Instagram and feel free to listen to the podcast episodes on Spotify and iTunes, which cover a whole range of film and TV related subjects with my co-hosts Nikki and Manny. Thank you very much for listening, and I'll see you next time back on the sofa.